Hello, my name is Kendle Carter, and I'm an educator here at the Innovation Hub. For the virtual library series today, I'll be showing you how to create a plant using Vector and Inkscape. For this project, you will need a computer and Inkscape. So before we really get started, I want to talk to you a little bit about what flat design is. Flat design is a style of design that's very minimal and typically used for screens. So think about things like icons that you would see on your phone, as well as things like logos and all types of things in between. So that's typically what flat design is, and that's what we're going to do when we design our plant today. So in the software, I'm actually going to start off with how to create shapes. The first thing you want to do is find your shape tools. The main shape tools are going to be your square or rectangle tool, your circle or ellipse tool, and then we have a star and polygons tool. So I'm actually going to start off with a square or rectangle tool, and I'll actually zoom in a little bit here. We have a zoom tool as well. So I'll go ahead and zoom in so you can see what I create. So with the square tool, I click with the left, and then I drag the shape until I have a square or rectangle. You'll also notice here at the very top, the size of that rectangle is now here. So if I want it to be a perfect square, I'll just go up here and do 78 width as well as 78 height. All right, and there's my shape. And I actually want to change the color. I'll go down here to the palette and choose the actual color I want it to be. To do that too, you just want to make sure it's selected before you click on the color you want to choose. And that's just through the selection tool here. When it's selected, you'll always see these black arrows. The next thing I'm going to do is make another rectangle. And this rectangle will be a little bit longer. And I'm going to keep it the same color. The last couple of things I'm going to make are circles. I'll make 2 circles. If I want the circle to be a perfect circle, as I draw it, I can hold down the Control key on the keyboard and it will keep the proportions of the circle perfect. So now I have my circle. Then I'll go down here to change the color. And that is how you create your shapes in Inkscape. The next thing I want to go over is how to use the Boolean path commands. What's neat about that is you can create new shapes by using shapes you've already created. All right, so my 2 shapes are aligned with each other, and I actually want them to overlap. All right, now that they're overlapping, I want to select both shapes again, holding Shift as I select the second shape. Then I go up to Path, and under Path, you'll have those Boolean path commands. What I plan to do here is combine those 2 shapes. And to do that, I want to use Path, and then I'll go down to Union, and that makes those 2 shapes into 1 shape. The next thing I'm going to do is actually make the leaves for the plant. To do that, I want to copy this first circle. To do that, I click Control C and then Control V, and that's V as in Victor. Now I have 2 identical circles. I'm just going to overlap those, and it's okay if it's not a perfect overlap, and then select both of these shapes. Now for this one, instead of using Union as my Boolean path command, I want to use intersection. And what that will do is the 2 shapes that overlap each other, it will make a new shape from the area where they overlap. So now you can see I have a leaf, and I'm going to size up that leaf. Now to keep the proportions the same, I want to hold down Shift as I size up the plant leaf. Next, I want to actually put this plant behind the pot that you see. And to do that, I will select the plant and then lower selection to bottom. After that, I want to actually make a copy of that leaf. So again, Control C, Control V. I'll click on it a second time to get the rounded arrows in the corners, and then rotate it. And I'll take that one to the bottom as well. And then I'll copy that one, Control C and then Control V. I actually want to flip this one. So to do that, I'll use the flip option, flip selected object horizontally. And then I'll move that to the bottom as well. So I'll select all of the leaves and actually make them a little bit smaller. Making sure I hold Control as I size it down. For small micro movements, you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard. Next up, I'm actually going to make one of my shapes. So actually the pot that you see here into a path so that I can edit it more. To do that, I'll go up to Path at the top of the page, and the first option is Object to Path. This makes my shape into a editable object so that I can change specific points on the shape. So if I select one of these little points, I can then move it around however I like. I actually don't want it to be there, so I'll just do Control Z to go back one step. And I actually want to select both of these. So I'll hold Shift to select the other one. I'm going to shorten my pot. So that is how you make your shape into a path. Next thing I will do is go ahead and add in what are shadows. And this is just something extra that you can do if you want it to look more three-dimensional. To do that, I'll just create a new rectangle. And I want it to be a darker color to create a shadow. And what it does is create more depth with your flat design, which isn't necessary, but it's fun to do. And it can give your design more visual interest. So with my 3 leaves, I think I'll go ahead and use the path commands to unite those as well. And now I can create a new shadow by copying it. So Control C, Control V. I'm going to lower it down to the bottom, lower selection to bottom. And I'll use a darker green to create a new shadow. So now I'll add a few last minute touches and then talk a little bit about it before I end the video. So now my plant is complete. You could add other things like a face or any other like shadows or other things you might want to add to your plant to make it more your style, or specific to what you are creating. And that's pretty much how you can create a 2D or flat design vector. Thank you for watching, and please leave a like if you like the video and follow us on our social media.